Hi, all my beautiful souls. I am Lady Stars on Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the astrology, or part 2 for the week of March 19th through the 24th. There's so much going on, but I say this is part 2 because I had to make 2 videos. First one was more of what Spirit was happening to say about, this upcoming week and kind of the next 2 weeks, as well as I gave the rune cast as well, and there just wasn't enough time for the astrology. So now I'm coming back and I'm doing astrology and throw some spirit guidance in there as well. As we are approaching, so this is kind of like the energy forecast for the week, with a little bit further down than just this week. We are approaching, tomorrow is the spring equinox. This is the energy that is the biggest part of what's going on right now. However, it is not the only thing, and I'm being told by Spirit how I need to kind of make sure people understand this energy a little bit better. Now, depending on where you are in the world, it's not the spring equinox. So, what I'm about to say, if you're not in the United States where we are, and we're not going from the dark season and into the light, because that's where we are here in the United States. You're going from the light into the dark. You just want to flip-flop what I'm saying, because it's the exact opposite, more or less. Now, for us here in the United States, the spring equinox is bringing us out of the dark season. For all intents and purposes, from the last equinox until now, we have been in the dark season. The dark season is a little bit more ego-filled. You get more into what you worry, you doubt. You get a little bit more into, all those tricks that ego can pull on you. And with us ending it in Pisces season, is kind of making that energy go pop. I mean, like really, really pop. I mean, like all of that stuff's just talking in your head right now. And depending on where you are on your path, will depend on how much of the stuff's talking in your head. I say this all the time. Depending on where we are on our path, these energies are critiquing us versus kind of making it feel like we got a swift punch right to the gut. And that has to do with where we are on our path and how well we are cleaning it up. There's nothing wrong with where you are on your path or what kind of glorious good stuff you've done or what kind of trouble you're having. The fact is you're walking your path, and that is what counts. Okay? And as you learn how to get better at it, it becomes more of critiquing instead of the punch in the gut. But the punch in the gut always comes because the universe has a way. Anyway, the equinox is speaking to us of this week, like I said, especially, but the energy of this equinox is going to kind of last for like 2 weeks, is what I'm being given from Spirit. And it's the way that they're explaining it to me so that I understand astrology better. Equinox, it happens to be, when the planet turns and whatnot, and it's on its tilt, and the way it moves from one side being more on light and not is so much more than that. But what they're explaining to me is, like I said, you're going from the light to the dark, at least here in the United States. We're going, from the dark to the light. In the United States, that's where the season is. As we enter the spring equinox, you're bringing that dark season, which had a higher percentage of power, and it's being brought down, so the light season is coming up, and they're in a balance to truly face off. Okay, so soul is really staring down ego, and ego is really staring down soul. Now, normally during the equinox, they kind of just go like this, and it hits really fast, really quick. But the way that this is happening right now, you have Mercury in retrograde in Pisces, with the sun there, with Vesta there, with Neptune there. So, like I said, it's where the soul exists. It's where the soul is. It's where the soul's secrets lie. The denials lie. It's what the soul is for all intents and purposes, good or bad. Healed or not. Whether you want to see the truth of yourself or not, it's where the soul is. Okay, and Mercury is in over communication in retrograde in Pisces with the soul and the ego. So it's over jabbering. All right, and with it being in retrograde as this equinox takes place, it's going to make it feel like it stayed like this for like 2 weeks. Because even though it goes direct on the 28th and the equinox is on the 20th, it's coming out and it's going to kind of make that balance not feel like it just kept going. It's going to make that balance feel like it just went into a stop for like the next 2 weeks. That's because once Mercury goes direct, it goes into shadow. Then it's going to re-critique, re-overanalyze, re-talk to yourself as it starts to go direct and starts to move forward. It will start refocusing on those darker aspects of what it's been talking to you about for the last month. Not to mention Jupiter next month, Pluto and Saturn are all also about to go retrograde. So right now you also have Jupiter in shadow. Or at least his spirit is putting to me, sensitives, really highly sensitive people are already starting to feel the energy of Jupiter entering that shadow period before it actually goes retrograde next month. It's already starting to slow down and turn and intercommunicate and get into those darker aspects of what Jupiter would be speaking to you about. Abundance, higher knowledge, vastness, expansion. Where are you not expanding? This stuff's starting to talk to you in your head because Jupiter's starting to slow down and make that shift. It's in shadow. But Pluto and Saturn, their shadows are not coming in yet. But like I said, as we come to the equinox taking place, it's not going to just shift. It's going to, and then they're going to be like, for like a good 2 weeks because of those shadows that are happening. And it's going to make it really emphasize it. Balance of light and dark. Higher self, ego. Sorry, babe, that's just the way it is. Now, with that being said, I am being told also, make sure the seeds that you sow this week, or the seeds, not even that you sow, because you aren't going to see a lot of what you're sowing until next month after this stuff starts to come into, I mean, I wouldn't look for yourself to truly see the light of the situation until April 5th through the 10th, because it's going to take that long for it to happen. And a lot of what's going on right now is like a test run to get you projected in the right direction for next month around the full moon. It's just the way that is. I'm explaining it the best that I can because if I get any more in detail, it could be more difficult because it also has to do with spirit. But it also does have to do with the blue moon. And like I said, I've been being told that we feel like we're being pulled from one position to another and then being put back. That has to do with the energies that are going to come up next month. So this has to do with critiquing and finding clarity the best you can, or at least allowing things to resolve themselves. So by the time you get to April 5th through like 10th, they've resolved themselves into a true clarity of what you truly don't see right now because of the illusion of the shadows and the retrograde of Mercury. Now, this week, Mercury, Vesta, and Neptune in that universal 12th house of Pisces is speaking to Mars in Taurus as well as Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn in sextiles. This is a very positive energy. This gives us opportunities. Mercury, Vesta, Neptune, universal 12th house. This is speaking to us on a soulful level, the depths of who and what we are. The truths of who and what we are, even in some areas of what we don't know. Because Spirit is telling me we have to ground ourselves this week, but the Spirit is also reminding me that some of what we're learning over this next 2 weeks is you're going to have to do some stuff that you really just don't want to. Some stuff that's a little harder, working a little harder than what you really want to have to work for. But that's just too damn bad, more or less is what Spirit's saying. You're going to have to do that work. But this energy is a positive energy. Mercury, Vesta, Neptune. Speaking to the soul self, speaking to what's in denial of ourself, speaking it to the illusion that we have about ourself. And the over communication is speaking to Mars and Taurus and Pluto and Saturn. So this is bringing a fire in again. This is bringing self-worth in again, self-value, self-esteem, the opportunity to set new foundations by letting go of what didn't work and finding new rules, walls, and boundaries on how to reshift them so that it soulfully moves us in a better direction. This is opportunities that are there if you choose to see them. Okay, I am being told also there's a lot of spiritual and soulful growth that can happen actually in the physical world that can move you forward, which will help your manifestation if you're doing this work right. You also have Mercury, Vesta, and Neptune, which are sextiling the North Node this week, which is speaking to you about your karmic debts, the karmic home of who and what you are, and the changes that need to be made. But here's your key. Are you going to listen? Because the North Node, all week long, this energy I'm talking about is all week long. The North Node is in opposition with Pluto and with Saturn. So that soulful change that would help you rewrite your rules, walls, and boundaries to help you feel more secure, you're going to question. You're going to doubt. You're going to be uncomfortable with that shift. It's not going to be something you really necessarily want or think or maybe need to do, but you do. Okay? And it's questioning Mars. Because, not it's questioning, it's actually trining Mars. Those Pluto, Saturn is trining Mars, which means it's giving it the opportunity and the comfortability of your passion, your action, your warrior, your inner SWAT team to stand up for yourself with self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. But then it goes right back into squaring Venus. So the ability to step up for yourself, to find your inner lion and to find your inner roar is there. But it's going to be pushing buttons of sensitivity about getting to there. Will you allow the roar to rise? I said last week that you go from 0 to champion. And 0 is understanding, hey, I know who I am. I know my power. I understand my power. I'm going to start to reclaim it. Starting to reclaim it is not exuding it and making it grow. And this is what I'm saying. It's coming into where you have to exude that energy. And there might be some uncomfortable sensitivities about making yourself exude that energy. That is when you truly claim it. When you acknowledge it and start learning of it, you haven't done anything with it yet. That's why it's still 0. 0 to champion. But it's not going to be comfortable. There's going to be things that are make you question and doubt it and want to kind of step back and watch what happens. And if you don't step up for yourself, then nobody's going to. Okay, now you also have Vesta, Mercury, and Neptune is squaring Jupiter. Jupiter, like I say, is your higher self. Jupiter is your higher self, especially in Sagittarius. It speaks to the higher knowledge, the higher abundance, the philosophy, the higher religions, the higher spiritualness. It is your higher self. And it is not getting along with this universal 12th house, with Mercury's retrograde, and with Vesta, and with Neptune this week. It's wanting to believe denials about yourself. It's wanting to believe illusions about yourself. It's wanting to believe what you've gotten comfortable with thinking is acceptable. It's wanting to believe what you've gotten comfortable with wanting to believe about yourself because you don't think you're good enough for the other. You're not ready to step up for it, so you'll think you got it. Life just has to be this way. Your higher self is trying to tell you that's not true, but only you can believe that. Again, 0 to champion, exuding your energy, exuding it because you know it. Not because you question it, not because you're learning of it, not because you're in your power. You have to be your power. Being in your power is still trying to claim it. Exuding it is when it pours out of your pores, your aura, and everything. And the energy knows you're there. The roar of the lion is not about trying to make sure somebody else knows that you're there. They knows that you're the king, knows that you're, the king of the jungle, or about having to claim your power, or about, aggressiveness or fighting. The roar of the lion is, this is my energy. Yeah, I'm big. What are you going to do about it? Owning it, exuding it, pushing it out there and making sure it's known. This is what I'm talking about. Now this week you have the moon is going to be moving through Virgo on the 19th and the 20th. So on the equinox, it is in Virgo. And Libra on the 21st and the 22nd. And that's when the moon is a little bit more of, I want to find harmony and balance, but that's the key. You want to find harmony and balance, which means you will find where it is not in harmony and balance. And then as we get into the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th, the moon is in Scorpio. That can be a very positive thing or a very bad thing, depending on where you take that energy. Because in Scorpio, we're over-emotional. We really feel our emotions when the moon is there. So you feel extra seductive, extra sensitive, extra lovable, extra joy because you feel it. Or you feel the lies, you feel the betrayal, you feel the denial, you feel everything about that energy even more because you're sensitive. So this has to do with where you allow that Scorpio energy to take you. But if it's taking you in a negative place, maybe that's because there's a root of something that needs to change. Okay? Because the extra sensitivity is there to try to help you understand. Like I tell people all the time, it is never a good thing to be angry and mad. However, when you are angry, you usually vibrate higher because you're now faced with the lie that you've been telling yourself. You wouldn't get angry if it didn't need to change. Same kind of concept with your emotions in Scorpio. If things are good, take the good and roll with it. But if things are emotionally bad, there's a lesson there of something that needs to be overcome, something that needs to let go, something that needs to change. And only your intuition and your emotions can tell you where you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Now, there are major energies going on the 20th, the 22nd, and the 24th. Obviously, the 20th. Because that is the spring equinox. But we also have a grand a grand earth trine on that day, which is speaking to us of grounding ourselves for one. But I'm also being told, like I said, that we have hard work we have to overcome as we go through this week. I don't know why I threw that in there. Apparently it needed to be brought back up. But we have a grand earth trine that is taking place the same day as the equinox and the same day as that full moon in Virgo. You have Mars in Taurus speaking to you about your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem within the energies of your passion, your action, your aggression, your fire, and your sexual energy. Speaking to you in conversation with Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn with your outer community. So this is spiritually stepping up for yourself, standing up for yourself, in your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, in your passion, your action, your aggression, and bringing that out. But Virgo moon is going to be telling you how to organize it, how to direct it, Virgo is the finger pointer. Virgo can, you put this over here and you do this over here and we don't need this anymore, so we're going to throw this out. Virgo is the organizer and it wants to set everything just so that it helps you get what you need. Listen to that energy that's coming from your intuition because it's going to help direct that Taurus Mars energy, so the passion and the action and the aggression comes out right and sets those new rules, walls, and boundaries and helps you create a new foundation that works for you, baby. Now, like I said, the moon is going to be in Virgo, though. It is going to be squaring Jupiter. Higher self, like I said, Jupiter, Sagittarius. This is our higher self going, you're being a little too anal retentive. You're being a little too picky about it, and maybe you need to really not be quite as picky, because you might rip it apart by trying to be so perfect. That's basically what that energy is going to be speaking to you about, because it's also going to be squaring Mercury and Neptune. So your inner communication, your inner talking to yourself, your inner beating yourself up, trying to be innately perfect on that day about it, or making it go just so, may actually make things become destroyed. Your higher self is trying to tell you to go with the flow, to love the situation, to use that higher self, that higher knowledge, connect with source, and allow it to take you in a more positive way. This over critiquing and stuff is something about you learning to tame the beast within. That has to do with the balance of the equinox, the light that is coming into a higher percentage. But this side, which is the ego, which is just fighting it in every sense of every spot. Because, like I said, you've got Mercury retrograde there. Then it's going to be in shadow. You've got Jupiter in shadow. So where it's coming into balance and they're facing off, your ego and your soul, they're not getting along, and ego is trying to hold on with every little thing it can and pick it apart. Ego needs now, now, now. Soul knows better. Listen to your higher self, and everything will work out. Now you also have another challenge that day where the moon and the sun are in opposition. Now here's the kicker on this. The sun is moving into Aries and out of that universal 12th house of Pisces. It's leaving Pisces. So it's starting a new cycle again. But it's jumping in right on top of Chiron, the wounded healer, which is giving it an extra access to ego again. And what ego needs to be illuminated for the wounded healer to heal. So it's seriously, like I said, ego is going to be talking to you a lot on this day, and it's going to be fighting Virgo, moon, trying to be perfect about it. Again, like I said, higher self is the one to listen to this day. Make sure that you connect with source. Tell ego. That's why I keep spelling it. Tell ego, because I'm being told, banish it and send it away, and cleanse your inner circle, meaning you. Cleanse your inner circle, because that's what they give me. They give me dragon's blood when that's what that meaning means. And I wasn't sure where we were going. Sorry, it went right over my head, but there you go. Now we got it. You do have another energy that is bringing opportunities, though. On the 20th, the moon is sextiling the north node. So the moon does know the directions that have to be changed. But maybe they don't have to be changed 100% right now, that day. Maybe you start directing it, but you don't hold on like it's the only thing that matters. Okay? It is speaking to the North Node about what has to change in order to move forward, but it is also sextiling Mars. So it's sextiling your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. You never want to let yourself be put down, but you also know when ego is making you stand up, when it's just stupid to do it. Because sometimes you can talk all that you need to, but if you're never going to get through, why waste your breath, energy, and time? Okay, it is a positive energy helping you come into your power, helping you ignite yourself, your inner flame. Okay, and then it is also sextiling Mercury and Neptune. So that's where the magic is. It's helping you jump into that universal 12th house and correct this healing. But it's correcting it inwardly, not outwardly. Because before you're any good at doing anything outwardly, you have to get better at doing it inwardly. This is bringing opportunities of soulful change so that you can eventually pull that outwardly and make it work for you in ways that you never knew you had the possibilities of being able to do. Like I said, they say every challenge is nothing more than a measure of finding out what your hidden strengths were. That's kind of what this energy is. It's bringing opportunities forward, but only if you can overcome the ego. Well, you get that. It's learning the only way you're going to get that. The only way you get to be have the victory in this, is to do it in that form, is what I'm being told. Now, on the 22nd, first off, on the 22nd out, you do have a positive energy that's going to be holding on and underneath everything from the 24th, I think, through the 27th at least. You have a chain reaction of Uranus and Taurus, your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, speaking to your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, which is also speaking to Sagittarius, that higher self, speaking to Jupiter, the higher self, the higher knowing of how to get that independence, individuality, uniqueness, and freedom, and set it right with your self-worth, your self-value, and your self-esteem. It is speaking to Lilith. So it's telling you, Lilith and Venus, like I said, Lilith is going to be backing up Venus's energy here. And it's going to be telling you what you like and why you like it and why you should go after it. And then why you need to stay away from the shit you don't want to. But it's going to be pointing at the more positives here. So you want to pay attention to this energy as it's coming in, because your higher self is amplifying the energy from Venus and Lilith. Okay, it's Lilith is always going to make me do a damn thing I don't want to do. It's the feminist in her power and full-on energy, speaking to the sensitivity of the emotions and the physical world, your physical body. And then it's speaking to your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, in that universal second house of your independence, your individuality, and your uniqueness. It's telling you how to rekindle the flame of you, babe. Alright, and that energy is there all week to help you relight that flame. Now, on the 22nd, though, the moon is in Libra, and it's sitting on top of Pallas, which is Venus. Not Venus, which is, told you, sensitivity is going to have a lot to do this week, because she just keeps putting Venus in my mouth. Anyway, I just can't stop saying it. But you have the moon is going to be with Pallas in Libra. This is talking about relationships, period, on the 22nd. Relationships are anything that you care about. You have a relationship with your car. When you don't have a car, you know about that relationship. When you have a relationship with your money, because when you don't have no money, you know about your relationship with no money. Anything you care about, friends, loved ones, lovers, children, anything you care about, you have a relationship with. This is speaking about these relationships in general. The moon in Pallas. Pallas is Athena, the warrior goddess. She is all about strategic thinking with harmony and balance of Libra, or what we need to do to get harmony and balance, and the emotions and the moon energy and our intuition energy, collecting this stuff correctly. And it is not getting along with Uranus, independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, and it's not getting along with Chiron, the wounded healer. Again, this is speaking to you of ego. This is speaking to you of where you're picking shit apart and you're overly analyzing. Okay, you need to understand that. You also have a T-square on the 22nd, which is going to make the energy harsher, because the moon and Pallas, strategic thinking and over-analyzing, is speaking to the North Node about what it is you have to do to get forward, to make you move forward karmically, soulfully, in the roots of who you are. It's the home of who and what you are and what you can't get away from. You can't get away from you because you live with you. And it's going to be picking apart at those rules, walls, and boundaries that you need to change. And are you making the proper changes? Are you actually stepping forward and doing them? Or are you closing your eyes and hoping that they'll change on their own? Because they won't. Okay? And then you do have a good thing that day, though. Venus is getting along great with the emotions, and with Pallas's strategic thinking, and with Lilith in Aquarius. So you're a little ballsier with this energy. You're a little bit more in tune with what you really are feeling and thinking and wanting to go after or not go after. And Lilith is definitely going to be adding fuel to your mouth as far as that goes and your sensitivities. It's just, are you doing it for the right reasons or the wrong? Is ego taking you the right way? Because if ego is what's driving that train, then it's going to be fighting all the others. Because the others, like I said, were more of negative energy. Now, on the 24th, you have a grand water trine, which is Neptune, not getting along with the North Node in Cancer and not getting along with that Scorpio moon. So, something about what has to change is not taking new fertility, is not dying and rebirthing. Because that Scorpio moon is going to be attaching and overanalyzing things from an emotional point of view that it needs not to do. No, that it should be doing. I'm sorry. It's over pushing it in a positive way. It may be making a brand new start because this is about redirecting something. Grand Trine is an opportunity, a new movement forward, a new positive thing. I read it wrong at first. I apologize. So Neptune is feeding it with magic and giving you the opportunity of creating something new that karmically is soulful for you. And Scorpio is going to be speaking to the sensitivities. So if you're not feeling comfortable about something that day, listen, because it's a fucking warning. If you're feeling good about it, listen, because it's a warning, okay? Your emotions will not lead you astray this day. But remember that it has something to do with the North Node, so something is about a change that needs to happen as you move forward and finding the creative magic to make it happen. Now, you also have Mars in Taurus, which is T-squaring the moon, though. So, your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, your self-worth. No shit. Mars, not Uranus. Mars is your fire, your passion, your action, your aggression, your sexual energy. And it's speaking to your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. Something about that is not, though, getting along with the Scorpio energy, with that extra sensitivity. And it's going to be pushing on Venus and Lilith. So I'm warning you, on the 24th, it's going to be an extra sensitive day. It's a water trine. And there's a T-square on top of it. And the T-square is telling you something about your passion, your action, your aggression, your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your sensitivities. Something is going to be fighting you this day. It's up to you to figure out what it is and what's the right thing to do. Because Neptune and the North Node and Scorpio's moon on the 24th, something about that energy is positive, and it's there to make a new change, to create a new magic, to start to take something new and allow something new to karmically take hold and root you in a new direction. But I'm warning you, everything is going to come down to those emotions that you have in that Scorpio moon. And what is it telling you? And you'd better listen to it, my love. Bye, everybody. I see you next week.